Okay, so once again, welcome to this cybersecurity webinar titled Creating Cybersecurity Career Pathways with Passion and Persistence. Our speaker is Dr. Joseph J Burt-Miller. Together we have students from different universities. We have students from mainly Tharaka University College, and also joining us is from Mount Kenya University, Lupe University. Also, we have those representing Chuka University, and also other universities and colleagues who have been sharing. Mainly, these are students taking IT or computer science. And with us, with Dr. Joseph J Burt-Miller, we actually met through an Isaka Engage forum, and he was really delighted to take part in this session. And as we go through these, you're going to realize that you're going to gain some very important and fundamental knowledge, which is going to be quite helpful to you. So once again, to make the rules very clear, I'm not going to ensure that I mute everyone, but once again, kindly make sure to stay on mute. And also so that you can have, again, I will not enforce any muting, so that even when you're asking questions, it is easy for you to unmute. But once you join in, you can be able to just ensure that you stay muted so that you're able to take part in this. So I'll just share a bit of the profile about Dr. Joseph J Burt-Miller, then I can be able to just welcome him. So Dr. J Burt-Miller Jr. is a product of Mount Vernon, NY. Is an Air Force veteran and a Capella University graduate with a myriad of experience within IT, cybersecurity, cloud-based applications, and biometric identity management for the United States government, including the DoD, Department of Defense, and the Department of Homeland Security. Dr. Burt-Miller utilizes his IT knowledge to complement his ability to give strong presentations, creating avenues to enhance the understanding of teams and partners through clear workshops and conversations concerning information technology. Additionally, he excels in government project management, utilizing an approach grounded in clear communication and mutual respect from all parties. Without further ado, kindly welcome Dr. Joseph J Burt-Miller. Karibu sana.
All right, well, thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Welcome, everyone. I think it's, I'd say it's afternoon over by you. It's morning here. It's about 8:13 a.m. to be exact. Here speaking to you all from Maryland. Just again, I'm just thankful for this opportunity. Again, my name is Dr. Joseph J Burt-Miller Jr. I am an assistant project manager for the Department of Homeland Security, based out in Arlington, Virginia. So here I was asked, as Kevin may have alluded to earlier, we met through ISACA, through one of the groups on there, and was able to create some dialogue, and that's when he asked me if I could come to speak today. So here we are. Definitely humbled and grateful to be here with you all, and I hope you're able to garner and learn something from today. And I do look forward to, I'm not gonna drown everyone out with a bunch of slides. Honestly, I don't have a lot, but that was by design. I want you all to have the opportunity to really have some dialogue, and I really want to learn your perspective and be able to answer your questions. So we'll get right to it. So cover what I'm going to cover today. So I'll talk about my journey to IT, how I got started, then going to the books to boardroom. Not necessarily boardroom, it just sounded better, but really from schooling to what it took to get into the IT industry. And then from there, I'll speak about professional association benefits, how good, really how that really helps you, especially in your career as you're starting out in IT and cybersecurity. Being a part of some of these professional associations do play a big role in your growth. All right, so my journey to IT, so it began at the Garden State, and well, here in the United States, the Garden State is known as New Jersey, and Paterson, New Jersey, to be specific. So my uncle, when I was growing up, so I grew up in New York, and when I was younger, my parents would always travel, very frequently. We'd go visit my uncle in New Jersey. So it was about an hour and some change ride to get there. I always enjoyed that. It was always like, little mini road trips to go visit. And whenever we go there, at the time, my uncle, he was doing a PC repair, and somebody has a hot mic. Okay. Yeah, so I was saying that we traveled a lot, going to visit my uncle. And so when I was there, like I said, he did his PC repair, and he always had like, PC parts like monitors, PC towers everywhere, memory, you name it, mice, keyboards, whatever. It was all over the place. But that piqued my interest. As he was working on different, components, different hardware, I was very curious. I did, I was always, always asked him different questions. Why does, what does this do? What does that do? And thankfully, he took the time to answer my questions, because I knew I had a lot. But I would say that from that point, that's what started, or at least that's what birthed my interest into IT, or more so like into computing, just learning how the different components work, tinkering with stuff, working on, desktop PCs, or what have you. And it just, I took that interest, for myself. I wanted to like work on different computer parts and what have you, and to see how things work. And and again, it just really just grew and compounded from there. So I spent 4 years in the Air Force, the United States Air Force. So I received a honorable discharge, and then after that, I worked at the Department of Veterans Affairs in New Jersey as an HVAC technician. And HVAC, if you don't know, that's heating, ventilation, air conditioning / refrigeration technician. So I worked there doing that for about 5 years. And at that time, I was studying for my bachelor's in computer information systems at St. Leo University. And I reached I'd say a moment of clarity as one of the shop operators, well, I was working with there. I remember to this day, and I still remember his name. His name was James, and he sat down and he took out like one of these pill separators, and I was curious. And at that time, I was, I was young. It was in my 20s, and I was, I asked him, say, hey, James, what is this? Like, what are you taking these pills for? What is that? And so he told me he takes it for pain. He takes it, every day for pain. I'm like, oh no. So, and some of the contractors that supported, the government employees, a lot of times I see them coming in like limping and, having all these different type of, ailments, walking into the shop. And I think that's what triggered me. I was like, oh no, this cannot be my future. I gotta I got to get out of here. I got to make moves to transition. So again, like I said, I studied for my bachelor's, and so I really ramped it up. I started bringing my book bag to work, and I would study like during my lunch breaks and whatnot. And I earned the nickname professor from my supervisor, because because he always saw me studying. He always saw me reading at work and this and that. So but I think at times that, you know, sometimes we need that push, at times, to really to help us pursue what we're trying to what we're striving for, what we're trying to attain. um Sometimes, a lot of times, we can find ourselves talking about different things that we want to do, or what we want to pursue, but we also have to put in that action. And sometimes, there are certain things in life that can kind of jumpstart that for us. And I think that that's what it was for me. Just knowing I didn't I love HVAC, by the way. I don't want to get that confused. HVAC is definitely a great trade, especially um, being a homeowner, and being able to repair, work on different things yourself and save yourself a lot of money is definitely a great trade. I'm thankful that I was able to learn. But at the same time, it is a manual labor type of job or skill. So it will take a toll on your body, especially dealing with the different chemicals that are involved with that, and lifting heavy equipment, compressors, and whatnot. After doing it for a while, it can, if you're doing it for an extended period of time, it can take a toll on your body. So I just knew, I enjoyed that time, but I'm thankful for the skills I learned. But I knew it was time for me to it was time for me to move on. And I knew I wanted to pursue my passion, which was in computers, or in IT. All right. So here, I know you're wondering, like, what is this jersey here for? So this number 8 is significant to me, because it was so not only, well, this jersey, it is paying homage to my favorite basketball team, the New York Knicks, but the number 8 is very significant, because it was the amount of times I was rejected before I finally broke through, before I finally received that yes for my first IT position. So as I was working at the Department of Veterans Affairs, and like I said, I was coming to work, studying, and everything like that. There were job postings, job positions that were open, and I would continue to apply. I would apply, and like I said, I would get rejected a lot. It was enough to. I'm not gonna say it was easy, because it was almost to a point. I was getting to a point where I was just gonna say, "Man, I can't do this." I forget it. Every time I try, they reject me. But also, after each rejection, I kept working, kept trying to do different things on my own to improve. Well, for one, like, improve my resume, to add new skills or anything like that I've attained between each period, to make myself more attractive, at least get to the interview portion. Um, when I finally got through with the yes, that I was so that elusive yes I was looking for, I got the interview, and very nervous, of course, but was able. I think it was like 3 people on the panel, and honestly, I can't remember all the questions now. It's been so long ago, but one of the things that they did, I would say one of the things that I think that gave me the edge was, and I think what should be helpful to you too, is that as much as it's important to have those, I'd say, maybe technical skills, for maybe your first IT position, it's also important to have those soft skills as well. And so what I mean by that is, your temperament, how you handle different situations, um, how you handle I guess stress, or being maybe in stressful environments and things like that, how you treat others, honestly. um those are very important skills to keep in mind as well, let alone from the more specific IT or technical skills that you may need for the position. Because you're going to be in a position where you're going to, of course, you will have to work with others, and if you're not able to get along with other folks, other people, and in some cases you may be in a position where you may have to lead some folks. If you're not able to work with others, or where people can't work with you, then you may not be a good fit as well. So that's something I would say you want to keep in mind, as you're on your pursuit, as you're working towards maybe your first IT position, or maybe your next one. I'm not sure where everyone is at in their journey, but those are some things to keep in mind, is that, yeah, you definitely want to keep your soft skills just as strong as your technical skills as well. Um, so I completed my master's in cybersecurity at St. Leo University back in 2016. And when I finished, I did not feel I didn't feel complete. I didn't feel like that was the end for me. I I was looking at the doctorate. I was looking at the PhD programs, and I was like, man, but I, I kept humming and hawing. I kept talking myself into it and then talking myself out of it. I just wasn't sure, because I just knew the the work that it would take to get in order to achieve that milestone. I just wasn't sure, but also at the same time, it's like, but I knew it was something that I did want to do. And I just needed I guess, an extra push. And during my deliberation, I did speak with my grandmother, and she gave me this advice, as you see here in the second bullet. You don't finish what you don't start. And yes, it's very simple, but it was effective. It was enough for me. And from that point on, after that conversation, I went ahead and applied at for the DIT, the Doctor of Information Technology program at Capella University, and that was back in the summer of 2017. So just a little bit of background and the timeline here. So after I worked about a year and a half in New Jersey, I had moved to Nebraska, went to the Midwest, and then I worked as a research IT specialist. But basically, I was performing IT duties for the research department over at the Department of Veterans Affairs in Nebraska. Then after that, I landed a position as a system administrator at Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska. And I'd say about a year, I stayed about a year, some change. Then I was able to return back to the East Coast as a DIVNet manager at the DoD Cybercrime Center. So DIVNet, if you're not familiar, or DIB, so that stands for the Defense Industrial Base. So working with the DoD Cybercrime Center, we fostered a cyber threat information sharing partnership with DIB participants. And what we did, we performed like cyber analysis. We offer like mitigation, almost like risk management. So offering mitigation, remediation strategies, providing best practices, conducting analyst exchanges with DIP participants. And what I mean by that, I think we did that at least two, I think 2 to 3 times a year. We have like our different tech exchanges, like I'll say like different forums would have, and this of course this was before COVID. So yeah, we were, you would be able to be in person and just have these forums with different partners, and where we hosted, and we have folks from different from within the industry come and speak, and be able to speak about different technologies or emerging technologies that they had, and what they were, and also like different solutions that they were looking for to help harden and protect their organizations. So from there, I worked there for about, I reached my ceiling after about 2 years. I wanted to progress further, but there were no open positions for me to move on to the next step. So I started looking elsewhere, I found myself a landed position at the Department of Homeland Security, where I am now. And so when I started, I was a biometric program analyst. And then after at least 3 years at DHS, I was selected to serve on the HARP project as an assistant project manager, which is my current position now. So HARP, that stands for the Homeland Advanced Recognition Technologies technology system. So it's replacing, well, we're still working on it, of course, but it's going to replace the legacy automated biometric identity system, which is known as IDENT. And that's going to serve as the primary Department of Homeland Security system for storage and processing of biometric and associated biographic information for national security. And I just touch on real quickly, if you're not familiar with the biometrics. When we talk about biometrics, we're talking about, fingerprint, iris, in some cases voice, facial recognition, and what have you. So we serve our government customers or partners or what have you for their different biometric solutions. I'll give one example where OBM for I guess my department, where we had served recently. If you're not familiar, we had a big fire in the Bronx, New York. There was a loss of life due to the fires, and we were involved to help identify some the deceased, doing a biometric identity matching. So those are some of the things that we take part in to help. A lot of times, we do take part in disaster recovery or disaster response, I should say. So that's just touching some of the things that we serve, what we do here at DHS OBM. And I don't know if I mentioned OBM, and that stands for the Office of Biometric Identity Management, if I didn't say that before. All right. So as we talk about professional associations, the benefits of that, number one, I put on there the top bullet right there. You see network. I'm a big proponent of getting out there and just putting yourself out there, meeting different people, really stretching yourself. Me, I'm an introvert by nature. Like I'm not one to really, go out and be out there like that. But it is something I had to change, because in order to grow, yes, it is good to have those skills, those like I said, those technical skills and what have you. As you learn for within this field, it is also just as important like I said, to grow your network, because you may be able to know some folks, you may be able to um, cultivate and garner relationships with people who may be in higher positions, who may be able to help you out, as you try to land certain positions, or you try to navigate within the field. So one thing I would say I'd recommend is, yeah, you want to, I say number one, so you want to use possibly social media. Oh, I think someone, okay. You don't want to use social media to your advantage. And one of the main things for me was using LinkedIn, and also another a platform. I don't know if you're all familiar with Clubhouse. That's a fairly new platform that launched, I'd say, probably like in 2020, 2019. I think it was 2020, if I'm not mistaken. But I joined it late. I joined like towards the end of that year, towards the end of 2020. But I did that as I was working on my dissertation, and I was looking for participants for my study. I joined Clubhouse and created some rooms, and then I was able to get people within my field, within my concentration, and that met that criteria, so they could participate in my study. So that was a benefit to joining, using social media to my advantage. I look at, I mean, I know that people use social media to, for whatever reason, but for me, I look at it more as tools. I don't really camp out on there. It's more so for me to use to my advantage. Just like a technician, you may go, work on something, you need your tools, you got your tool bag. So for me, it's the same kind of idea. Social media is a tool to me. I just use it to my advantage. So as I was saying, so as I was on Clubhouse, I was able to, so I did use it for working towards as I was working my dissertation, but also I was able to use it to find my mentors, because as I got to this point, I had recently married in 2020. I was excelling very well, in my career. I was, moving along, and I just felt like, but as weird it may sound, I felt like I was doing a lot of different things at once. I felt like I didn't really have like a focus, and that was something I did want to change. So, and with that said, I was seeking a mentor. I wanted someone to help. And I do relate a lot of things to sports. And so for me, it was like, I wanted to find a coach. I want to find like a head coach to help guide and direct me. Take the skills that I have and show me the best way to best utilize them. So as I said, as I was, on Clubhouse, I was able to join the different cyber IT-centric rooms. I was going in rooms with other CISOs, Chief Information Security Officers, just listening, just kind of just hanging back and just listening to what they're saying. And after listening to this one room, it was led by a member from the Black Cybersecurity Association, which is an association I'm a part of, that I joined as well. And as we talk about joining these different associations, how they benefit you. So I joined the BCA, and there was one room that was headed by well, it was a standard room. It was called the voice of the CISO. I believe it's still going. Honestly, I haven't been on Clubhouse, in a little while now, but there was a standard room called Voice of the CISO, led by Ms. Gina Sharp, and she's a CISO as well. And I was just listening, and she talked about the subject matter was that, in order to excel, you do need someone to basically talk about mentorship, having someone to help guide you and help you within your career. And that's what I was like, all right, I need to do this. I need to make the step. Sometimes you got to make yourself vulnerable, put yourself out there. And so I found a profile of one of the CISOs that were speaking during there. I messaged her, and her name is Janai. I said, I asked her, I said, hey, I've been working on IT cybersecurity. I want to know if you would be my mentor. And thankfully she obliged. She said yes. Then we was able to coordinate like a one-on-one meeting, kind of just really just getting to know each other, and also sort of as an opportunity for her to kind of decide like which path I should go. Because I mean, as you may know, there are many different ways or many different pathways to cybersecurity. It's not just, I guess, the technical portion. That you do have the GRC or the policy side. So you don't have to be a pen tester, or not that there's anything wrong with that, but just know that that's not the only way. You don't have to be a hacker like a Mr. Robot or anything, because I'm definitely not that. But Mr. Robot's definitely a good show, by the way, if you haven't seen it. But no, and that was enlightening for me, because I think a lot of times, a lot of folks who are in or who are pursuing a career in cybersecurity, they feel like, oh man, if I don't learn, all these protocols or whatnot, and I got a network, this and that, it's you do have to take a step back and to say, is that what you really want to do? Because that's not, that is one way, yes, but it is not the only way. So after, discussion with her, then we had decided, given my background and also even my leadership skills from the military, she felt like it would be best for me to pursue a cybersecurity career within GRC. And also ultimately I'm working towards becoming a CISO. So recently, especially as I finished now with my degree, I've definitely taken more steps in working towards that. Being able to feature especially my dissertation. I'm also looking to work with some of my professors to get in more journals, and also do more speaking events and what have you. And it's really trying to build up that I say that section of my portfolio. And lastly, yes. So as I mentioned, I talked about Black Cybersecurity Association. We talked about the different associations, ISACA. And as I mentioned earlier, that Kevin and I, we met through ISACA. And honestly, I haven't been on ISACA for years or anything like that. I recently just joined. I joined ISACA because of my mentor, and that was one thing. I think that's another benefit of having a mentor, someone who's been there, done that, can guide you, try to get you into different rooms that you may not be familiar with, but it's for your benefit, to get you that exposure that you need. And thankfully, so when I joined ISACA, that's where Kevin and I met, and why I'm here today. So so that's another piece of advice I'd say, is to you want to get a mentor, you want to get someone, and not just any mentor. You want someone who's in the position that you want, if that makes sense. So I actually have two mentors, and they're both sisters. You want someone who's experienced, has the years, and they're in the and specifically the years of experience in the position that you wish to be in, because that way it makes things more clear. You stay more focused. You're not really spending a lot of time swaying, and also it'll be cheaper for you too. And what I mean by that is, like, a lot of times as we're in pursuit of what we want to accomplish, we may say, hey, I got to get this certification, or I got to get this degree, or whatnot. And then you may do all these things, and ultimately you may find out that's not what you want to do. And now you kind of wasted all that time and money. So I'd say another benefit as having a mentor, a coach, is they can help refine your path, get you into different spaces that are pertinent to what you're trying to accomplish, what the position that you ultimately wish to attain. You want to stay focused on that. You want to take maybe the necessary certifications that'll help you on that path. You don't want to take, so for me, as I'm pursuing GRCs, and GRC is government risk and compliance, I wouldn't necessarily take a pen testing a certification, because GRC you don't need that. So if you want to take it, of course, it's good to have, but if you're really trying to stay focused on where you're trying to accomplish, for me, it's more so to get more familiar with the NIST policies and what have you. So that's more what I'm trying to stay focused with, as opposed to trying to do all these different things within IT, but then ultimately it doesn't help you, because that's not the career path that you're working towards. And that is all I have for today. And like I said, the reason I kept this very short, because I did want to give you all an opportunity to speak. I really want to have even just a dialogue, just to learn your perspectives, like learn what you're trying to do, what your career pathways are, and give you ample time to answer some questions. So let's start.
Oh, thank you so much, Doc. Okay. Thanks so much for the nice presentation. I believe this is the time when students have been really waiting to join in and also ask the questions. So you can share that the students, you can share your questions on the chat, or if you want to ask a question, you can raise your hand. There's a raise hand feature. Under the reactions, I think you can raise your hand. For example, if what I've just done, then we can be able to unmute you so that you can be able to have some order. So there's one question on the chat. Maybe you can start with that one, even as others plan to ask the questions. Alex is asking, I recently graduated with a PhD, applied computer science. I have an interest in cybersecurity. What's your advice on the career path to take to achieve my dream of becoming a cybersecurity expert lead? On the chat.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at the chat right now. Okay, so you recently graduated. Okay. So, and that's from Alex. So Alex, great question. What I'd say, I think one of the biggest I guess, conversations, or debates, I should say, is, whether you should, pursue certifications versus degrees. For me, I've done both. And of course, everyone is different, and also what you're able to do. One solution is not going to be the same for someone else. It's gonna vary. But as far as I would say, the best way, looking back, especially if you're looking to work, especially here in the United States, if you're looking to work within the government, one of the key items that they look for is basically, like, the baseline is to have your Security Plus certification. That's like almost standard. If you go to usajobs.gov, nearly, I don't know, maybe 95% of the job requirements, for when it comes to certifications, that you need to have your Security Plus at a minimum. So what I would say is, as you're working, you want to build up experience. You want to get that experience of it, and especially now, times have changed, because I know folks, and some people may be still doing it now, but where you're creating, like, your own home labs, buying all these servers and this and that. But which is great if you have the capacity to do that. But there's been such a evolution of tools and things at your fingertips, especially through the internet, that you could really accomplish those things without having to spend all that money and take up all that space, maybe in your living room or in your basement. So what I would say is, you want to, I guess, number one, you want to know, try to determine what path within cybersecurity you want to pursue. Because just saying that you want to work in cybersecurity, that's great, but you need to kind of refine that down, kind of hone in on, okay, what avenue of cyber do you want to pursue? Do you want to do hacking? Do you want to do reconnaissance or GRC or what have you? Those are the type of questions that you need to ask yourself as to what you want to pursue, and then from there, look at maybe the necessary certifications that could help you, that'll help enhance not only your resume, but also your abilities as you're working towards that pathway. And one thing that will help you with that is, as I mentioned before, is pursue a mentor in that field, or pursue a mentor that has that position that you wish to attain. That'd be, I mean, honestly, it doesn't really get any much better than that, to have someone who has a position, who's gone through it, and then now you got direct access to that person, as he or she can give you the tricks of the trade, and maybe, and a lot of times they're able to look back and say, hey, if I was able to do it differently, I would do this. And they have now the opportunity to do that with a mentee, to say, hey, instead of doing the way I did it, do it this way, because this way it may be faster. So again, I would say, number one, as you're working towards a career in cybersecurity, get a mentor. And as I mentioned the last slide is, network. You definitely want to network, brush up your LinkedIn profiles. I think one thing that we learned, especially in this pandemic, is that a lot of people were, I including myself, before the pandemic, I had my LinkedIn, but wasn't using it nearly as much as I do now. That's really my primary vehicle right now. I don't even mess with any other ones, honestly. It just doesn't serve me, but that's just me. But yeah, you want to network, join LinkedIn groups, different, because there's plenty of different groups within LinkedIn. So join cybersecurity, IT centric groups within LinkedIn. Get yourself out there, network with folks, talk with people, go to attend conferences pertaining to what you're trying to do. I just attended one yesterday, a virtual conference pertaining to critical infrastructure, and that was the basis of my dissertation. So yeah, so you want to refine. You don't want to do everything. You kind of want to try to determine what it is you want to do, and then from there take that focus pathway. I know that's kind of a long answer, but I hope I did answer your question. Okay, I think there you go.
Thank you so much, Doc. There's another question. There's another question from someone who's asking, Lawrence on the chat. How do you protect sensitive information handled and stored by third-party vendors? I think maybe this is, I don't know how you can handle it. Maybe from there.
Okay. And this is the question from Lawrence? Or, okay, yeah. So how do we protect sensitive information handled and stored by third-party vendors? Well, that is a that part is a lot of times that presents almost as a vulnerability for a lot of organizations where organizations, let's say a main company organization, they may contract out maybe their data handling to another or subcontractor, but their security preferences or security posture is not as stringent or as strong as yours, and it actually opens up, like I said, a vulnerability for attackers or for those that are willing to do harm. So basically, instead of going the hard way, because whenever someone is trying to do an attack or try to find a way in, they're going to go to the easiest pathway. And if the easiest one is the organization or the company that has the less or the most relaxed security rules, that's where they're going to go. And we see that a lot within critical infrastructure as it pertains to and specifically within the United States for protecting the U.S. power grid. A lot of these organizations that have a very strong security posture, but some of these smaller cooperatives, these smaller electrical companies that may not have the resources, or they may not have the personnel, enough personnel. Some of the, especially in some cities, the personnel is only about, let's say, about 3 to 5 people or even less. So that presents a problem. And with that said, they may not have the money, the resources that some of these more established organizations to really bolster and harden their security posture. So these smaller organizations, or like you said, maybe these third parties, they don't have the money to really get to that level, and that's where you'll see some of the some things will definitely get through the cracks, because they may not be doing even simple things, maybe like two-factor authentication, or doing backups or using encryption for their data or what have you. Those are just a couple of things that that poses I would say a risk in when it comes to in this case for the overall security or hardening or bolstering security for an organization. So yeah, so to quickly answer, so when we talk about protecting sensitive information, if we have access to it, you definitely want to use. You definitely want to make sure everything is encrypted. You want to use different. You want to work in defense in depth. So with that said, like you want to use any two-factor authentication. In some organizations, you may have to use like you have to use like, of course, like a PIV card, and also in some cases you may have to use like a biometrics. Some may require like a fingerprint scan or what have you. You definitely want to, and a lot of times, I don't know if you heard of some of these organizations that were hacked or there was a security or information breaches. They weren't even using like the most basic security measures. They were using very simple passwords, or some were still using default passwords. So those are things, sometimes you have to kind of look back and maybe look inward and make sure you're doing the basic things right. You want to use at least, I know, I think the standard is about 8 characters, but I'd say go even more than that. If you can go to 12 characters, alphanumeric passwords with special characters. And I know a lot of times, having those passwords, can be cumbersome. Use a password manager. That may not be the case for if you work within an organization, but if we're talking about as far as for your own personal security, try to use password managers. For myself, I use LastPass, which is very good, especially and if you're trying to you want to create those strong passwords. That it does have a feature where it'll generate a strong password for you. You can set the length. Some you can, I don't know what the limit is, but 15, 30 characters, what have you. So you definitely want to ensure things like that, the basic things are done correctly, and because a lot of times they can get overlooked, especially or even when we talk about like IoT devices that you may have in your home. And we talk about like if you have like smart devices like your TV or thermostat, and also even just like your router, your own home router. A lot of folks who are not, I'd say, IT savvy, they are a lot of times they just leave the router using the standard or the default, using password, the admin and password that comes right out the box, and attackers know that they will exploit that, and and once they're in, they're able to do what they will with your information, especially if you're going, if you're doing banking on your home computers, which a lot of folks do. But if you're leaving that, it's almost the same thing as you leaving your front door open to your house. You're giving an open invitation for attackers to come in and and do harm. So yeah, so that's one thing. Yeah, that's one thing you want to concentrate on. You want to make sure the basic security measures are being done properly, and then of course when you work with different organizations, you definitely want to take it up a notch. To ensure that, especially as you're dealing with data, and security best practices, you want to ensure that you follow in those practices according to, local, state, and government policies and guidelines. All right. Do we have another?
So we have Harriet Finale on call. She would like to also maybe ask a question also as she also continues on this. Harriet?
I'm sorry, you said.
Let me allow Harriet to let me allow participants to unmute themselves. Harriet,
Oh,
go on.
oh, they're gonna come on. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, thank you, Kevin, for allowing me in. Thanks, Dr. for honoring our offer and acknowledging that you'll be speaking to our students. So I'll continue with the question answer part. The next question, just a minute. The next question has been asked by Lawrence. He's asking that, do we have a disaster recovery strategy in place? I don't know whatever he means. Huh? I think he's trying to correlate it with the protocols that target cyber attacks.
Yeah, so I see the question. So what is a protocol if we are targeted by a cyber attack?
Yeah.
Is it that one? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, great question. So one of the main things, I think maybe one of I would say the weak points, especially I could only speak for the United States. When it comes to when an organization is attacked or there's a security breach, you are supposed to number one, you have to report it, and especially during my time when I was working at the DoD Cybercrime Center, that was one of the main things that we work with, is that we work with different government entities that did succumb to any security breaches or attacks or whatnot. But the tricky part is a lot of these companies didn't want to make that public, and the reason why they didn't want to make it public is that they didn't want to face I guess the overwhelming public scrutiny. They didn't want to let their competition know that they've been breached. Just trying to save themselves from embarrassment, and also trying to, I think a lot of times also trying to control the narrative. Especially if the customers, dealing with the customers, they're trying, at the time they don't want to alarm, their customers of a breach where they could face, there are losses that comes with that, financial losses, and also, and the other big part of that is loss of trust from current and potential customers. If word comes out that you were breached, or how big the breach was, and how far reaching it was, that's a big factor. But yeah, I'd say the biggest thing, yeah, is to, number one, is to report it, and then also two, then you do have to try to you work with organizations like the DoD Cybercrime Center to help mitigate and try to because number one, you want to stop the spread of the attack, and then you're going through your remediation steps in order to, for one, of course, to stop it, but then also to eradicate the threat within your network. And then after that, and then as you work on recovery, you're taking the steps to, if certain drive was compromised, a couple PCs or network, ensure those are clean, do some scanning of your network, ensure everything is good to go for you to operate at 100% capacity again. So those are things that those couple of steps you do want to take in order to, if you have succumbed to a security breach or a cyber attack. Information sharing is definitely, I'd say, is key in this type of situation, because, and I think a lot of times, organizations really have to, and also not just the company that was attacked, but also the organizations that are working to help remediate. And what I mean by that is that I say that there have been, during my research when I was doing my dissertation, I was able to, I had the benefit to speak with some top officials within DHS and other government agencies pertaining to critical infrastructure. And they told me that one of the pain points was that information sharing within not so much the affected company, but it's really the information sharing between the different agencies. So let's say FBI, NSA, or DHS, what have you. Everyone wasn't playing nice per se. They weren't really working together as cohesively as you would think. So that's something that plays a big role that plays a big role in mitigating the threat, keeping it localized, and then also of course you want to eradicate it. So information sharing between the agencies to help get that accomplished is key. I'd say probably the top, I'd say most important aspect of it as it pertains to a cyber attack.
Okay, thank you, Doc. The next question is from Farhan Yusuf. He's saying, hello, Doc. Thank you for the great occasion. I have done Cisco certification in Introduction to Cybersecurity. I'm about to start Cybersecurity Essentials in Cisco. What will you advise me, and how does the certification make me to be employed?
Okay, all right. Great question. So you completed your Cisco certification. That's great.
Introduction to, just maybe a clarification, Introduction to Cybersecurity, as well as Cybersecurity Essential, which he's saying that he's about to start. Both are hosted by Cisco.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So with that said, that's kind of telling me that you're doing something, you want to do something with and pertain to network. I guess the network aspect, or maybe like a networking engineer or what have you. I would say yes, you want to, if that's a pathway that you're traveling for yourself, you want to, I would say, keep working on those related certifications. You want to, and I say this, I know I said this before, but yes, you want to get with someone that is experienced already within this field, within this area that you're pursuing. I'd say the best way that I found is, join some Cisco, in this case, join some Cisco related LinkedIn groups. Start connecting or following folks who have so many certifications or the position that you're looking to attain, because they can give you the best, I would say, the best advice, specific advice for you, for what you're trying to accomplish. Join those different LinkedIn groups, connect with those folks, and ultimately, take the next step and ask, and one or two of them say, hey, can you be my mentor? Have regular check-ins, whether it's like weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, what have you. I think that'd be very beneficial in cultivating and developing your career, because then also, like I said, you have that coach, that person that can guide you and direct you to say, hey, go to, take this, take this exam, or take this certification, or what have you, or go to this conference, or they may be featuring something and they take you along, where previously you wouldn't be able to even join because you don't have the requisite experience yet, but you're able to join because of you know, as they're able to get into different spaces, they're bringing you along with them. So you get that exposure maybe ahead of time, as you probably would have already, but now you're kind of speeding things up because now you have someone who can get you in the door much faster. So those are things that can help really accelerate and develop your career. So yeah, you know, keep working on certifications, you know, like I say, join those different groups, you know, really get yourself out there, make sure, yeah, and I know I said it before, but I think it's important that, you know, brush up that LinkedIn profile, connect, like follow folks that are working towards those same goals that as you are, and just watch as everything grows. It almost grows like a flower. You know, it takes some time, but as you continue to connect, follow with folks, and as you also maybe as you put out content, people will want to come and connect with you as well, because everyone has their starting point. Everyone is at a point where, you know, what you're doing, it could be inspiration for someone else who may be even earlier than you. So yeah, you definitely want to, you know, put yourself out there. You know, don't be worried about, you know, so I think a lot of times you just have to really just make yourself vulnerable at times, but in pursuit of what you want to accomplish, what you want to do. Yeah, so you want to stay focused as it pertains to that. And also I say lastly too, you know, work on getting experience, work on enhancing or refining those skills. And I think I mentioned earlier is that you want to, when we're talking about like different labs or whatnot, I think I forgot to mention, you want to, if you're not already, you know, join Try Hack Me. I think that's a very good platform. They have so many different rooms and different ways to really develop or enhance your skills for many different areas. So especially if you're doing like Cisco networking, I know they definitely have like a networking, some networking rooms specific to that. So I would definitely, you know, do things like that. Do something where you're able to, and it doesn't require you to set up servers in your house or whatnot. You could do this everything's all web-based, and you're able to, you know, have daily practice. And I think that's the main thing: practice, especially as pertaining to what you're trying to do. That's something you want to keep working on, and also document as you're doing this stuff. And that's where the LinkedIn and, you know, resume tie-in is. Like, as you're working on these different skills and developing these skills, document that, because especially as you come to a potential employer, yes, you may not have the professional experience yet, but say, hey, even though I haven't done this for a company, I could still do this because I have X, Y, and Z. You're able to get those certifications. You've had the lab work, the lab hours that you put in, and you could showcase that for any potential employer. So those are the things I would focus on. You know, get the daily practice and network with folks, and find a mentor within your field, within your section, that has those same maybe certifications or more, so that way you can get that more refined focus or that refined advice to help you along your career.
Thank you, Doc. From the chats, I don't see any other question. So maybe probably I will just wind up the session. Then I'll acknowledge the presence of the following universities: Tharaka University, which is the host of this webinar; Mount Kenya University students; Moranga University; Alupe University; and Kibabi University. I think this is a good collaboration whereby we are getting 5 universities in one. And we thank Tharaka University students for holding this webinar for all of us. Thank you, and back to you, Kevin.
Wow. Thank you so much, Harriet, for taking us through that session. And I've seen also on the chat is it is Jaramogi Odinga University, and also we have Chuka University also coming through. I think from I also have KCA. Yes, they're having all of them coming in through, and really appreciate. And both more sessions is going to be inviting all of you. I think from our side we're done, unless maybe Doc, you have any parting shots, then you can close the session.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I definitely want to thank you again, Kevin, for allowing me to be here today. It was definitely a great experience. I definitely enjoyed my time doing this. I look forward to, if there are future opportunities like this again, I'll definitely sign up. I'll come. As I said before, I'll come as long as you have me. So no, but I think this was great. I definitely enjoyed my time and it definitely resonates with me because I was always on the other end. I was on the side where I was the one always trying to attend different conferences, webinars, trying to meet folks and whatnot. And I still am. I'm not I'm not saying like I'm done. I'm definitely still in the learning mode. I'm still, like I said, I'm working with my mentors, still learning from them. So I'm definitely by no means finished, or I feel like I'm a top expert above all. But I do feel at the same time I have garnered enough information where I can help others coming up for the, to help cultivate the next generation of, IT and cybersecurity professionals. So I definitely enjoy my time here. Very humbled to be with you all today. I think it was great. I definitely enjoyed the questions. I enjoyed the time here with you all. So just want to thank you again. You could, have my information here. You could, email me. Let's connect. I said LinkedIn. I promoted that. Hey, my LinkedIn profile link is there. Connect, find me, and connect. Let's keep this going. And like I said, try hack me. My name is there too. So if you want to try hack me, you'll find me there. Find me, add me as a friend, and let's hack together. But yeah, thank you again. I appreciate the time, and yeah, thank you, Kevin. Back to you.
So probably, Doc, you can share the handles for your LinkedIn account and the others, maybe under the chat set, that the students can follow you and see whatever that is trending in the world.
Right. Yeah. So within, I don't know if Kevin or I don't know, or Harriet, I can forward you this slide, and of course it'll have these links. Of course, you can just click on them. But also at the same time within LinkedIn, yeah, I really don't have any other social media. is mainly LinkedIn. So, but yeah, even if you do a search of my name, you'll find me on LinkedIn as well. And if you want to, and those maybe if you want to do like a one-on-one, we could set up time on the calendar to do that as well. Just email me. I know I put up my work email, but I have to give maybe Kevin my personal email, so that way, and that's what I would use if I'm doing any appointments or consultations with anyone. So I'll get that to, or I could drop that in the chat. I'll drop my personal email for those that want to maybe do like a one-on-one consultation and whatnot, and that way we could just have a chance to talk, and we could maybe discuss goals, and just where you are in the process, and maybe how I can possibly help steer you. So yeah, so my email is there in the chat. LinkedIn link is there. I'll send this presentation off to Kevin as well, so that way everyone else can get access to this. And like I said, you can find me on Try Hack Me. with my username there. And that's I think that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we can't get enough of you, Doc. So we really appreciate you, and we can't wait for another session with you. Quite soon. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of emails from those who would want to take it further and just get up to you one-on-one. Really appreciate. Thank you so much. Sorry for taking you past time, but thank you so much for your time, Doc. Really appreciate it.
No,
You have a lovely
no worries.
day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Like I said, I was just thankful to be here, and I think this was great, and I look forward to doing more. So, so that's all I have. Thank you, everyone. I hope you all have a, well, I was gonna say good day, but I think it's kind of more towards the nighttime for you all, or towards the evening for you all. But enjoy the rest of your day today, and I look forward to future opportunities. So, thank you. Have a good one.